WB with a lot of support from peers and friends and business community. One of the things that I found that we need to do in times where we're starting to struggle a little bit, and the price of oil that seems to dictate what this community does and can't do. So maybe we have to look to diversify the way we do business. Maybe we don't need to be completely relying on the industry, with the market, regarding the price of oil. Viable solution is to ensure the businesses are strong, they're surrounded with a diverse network of community leaders. The communities needs clear direction and decision-making abilities. We need future decisions regarding the community to include members of the community with more input and with all the information available to the citizens of the community. All right. I believe my work experience as manager for a large corporation that is a regulated company where the priority is transparency, it allows me to make sound business decisions in regards to capital projects and one-end projects that the council is responsible for, and it is your funds that they are responsible for, all our funds that they are responsible for. As a director of the board of the Chamber of Commerce, I've also had the opportunity to talk with many business owners, many business employees, many business managers, and had to discuss their needs, and with knocking on doors and finding out the needs of the people. I think the priorities that I'm going to go into council with are going to start with, go again. First off, one of the priorities is we work collectively with fellow councillors to ensure all business RNWB is governed in sound decision making and by listening to the community. For businesses and services, and this was one where I found walking into a lot of businesses, and is what are we going to do to ensure that...
Thank you very much. So 3 minutes up.
Is it?
That's 3 minutes in. Thank you. So...
Can I time this from like the 90 seconds thing?
Oh, it felt like 90 minutes. But... Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mike DeRocher. Campaigning on new ideas, new energy, and a strong voice. I've been in this community for 18 years, and there are several councillors, or wannabe councillors, I should say, up on this stage that have been here for a while. I was about to prepare a large, long speech, and I figured I don't want to do that. My whole premise is about new ideas. I want to do something different. I don't want to do what we've had, because we've seen good people move into council roles over and over again. There's not one person who ever wanted to do bad to our municipality. The fact is, we need people that have the skill sets and the abilities to be able to work with $1 billion budget. That's the reality. We need to be able to manage this budget, fiscally responsible, but we have to have the tools and the understanding of what it is. I mean, the only reason why we have issues today is because there's two sides of an argument. Unless we find out the facts of what those arguments are on both sides, we're not going to be able to come to a conclusion that fits our community. Let's get this straight, folks. This is about our community and what we need to do to make it better. Okay? Do we have the skill sets to do that? We are an organized society. As a community, we have a governance body that we need to follow, and we need to correctly use that system. So we need to understand that governance model. We need to know how to work with it. We also need to understand clearly the only thing about this job that is part-time is the salary. You are a counselor 24/7, and you need to be available at all times. And if you can't be, I'm sorry, you should look at your priorities, because the bottom line is you need to be there. If we have government coming into our city, if we have visitors coming in, if we have a budget that we need to look at and make sure we have information, we have to be available for that. Okay? I want to be that strong voice because I need to work with the mayor and council. We all do. Whoever works with us. You have to work in a system that is 90% behind the the scenes. 10% is when we get up on Tuesday and we talk. Other than that, we are sitting there doing the work behind the scenes to create change. To look at information, give it to the other councillors, and come up with a collective decision within that council. One of the things I hope to do is exactly that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming, everyone. My name is Chris Flood. I'm vying for the same position as everyone else at the table here. First of all, I just want to say I agree with some of the points that were heard. This is a role about representing. It's a role about representing the best interests of the community. It's a role about making tough decisions, what are viable decisions. My role right now is a business agent for IUOE, Local 955. In that role, I have to represent my members. They give me a mandate, but I also have to make decisions that are best for them as a whole. It's a tough industry. When you talk about working with council, I couldn't agree more. Currently on council today is my former vice principal, one of my former high school teachers. I've sat at the table with Keith on bargained some agreements or settled some disputes. So I have an interesting perspective because I work with both the people, but I also work with industry. I sit at the table quite regularly with the oil companies, trying to find solutions that are best for both sides. So I think right now dollars may not be connected directly to oil prices, but they're definitely impacted by oil prices. We see a lot of people out of work right now and a lot more coming. We need to make the right decisions that are the best for this community. It's not about building a dream, it's about building a reality. It's about moving the city and the community in the right direction. We need to focus on what is a need, not what is a want. We need to show leadership. We need to show restraint. We need to be able to make a tough decision, maybe an unpopular one at sometimes, but we need to do what's right for today and what's right for tomorrow. I got interested in municipal because I have seen some waste lately, and I want to make sure that it's a great community for my youngster to grow up in, much as it has been for me. This is my home. I want to be here. This all is and always will be my home, and I truly believe that we need to make the right decisions. Everyone up at this table, sure, they're here for the right reasons. They may have a different path to get where they're going than I do, or we probably share a lot more similarities than we do differences. But at the end of the day, we need to make the right decisions right now. And there are some plans in place, and there is some debt that's hanging over our head that I don't think is responsible to be spending that kind of money on right now. I think we need to really focus on infrastructure. We need to be fiscally responsible by default. Shouldn't have to...
Thank you. Sorry for interrupting you there. A few minutes.
Hi everyone. Oh, sorry. My name is Veronica Dolman, and I thought I was running for mayor. Just kidding. Something I'm very passionate about is communication. And this is something I focused on in the 2013 general election. And I was looking at different ways I could engage voters. Because Ward 1 is a big area, it's really hard to get out to every household. And I thought, what would be a way I could engage the citizens? And one way I thought I could reach out to people was through Ask Veronica. That's a YouTube segment where residents are invited to send YouTube questions. They can tweet them at me, they can text me, they can ask me in public. I've had private emails where I've asked for permission to address those questions online as well. And that's something I did. And you can actually still see those at youtube.com/Veronica4YMM. I have my 2013 answers, as well as some new answers as new issues come to light. So I invite you to participate that way. Another way I've become involved is this year I have a blog on my website, which kind of tells people what I've been up to around the community. I'm an active volunteer. Recently I was volunteering at Spring Fling helping set up. I volunteered at Winter Play. I visited the cat room at the SPCA quite a bit. It's a passion of mine. And that's something I enjoy to do. So if you go on my blog at veronicaforYMM.ca, the community event section, you can see some of my participation. I do have board experience, so I served on the board of governors at Kiama College as the student representative for a year, and that gave me a really good indicator of what board governance looks like at that level. So working with people like Jim Wilson and Jim Foote at the time was fantastic. It was awesome to work with those individuals. I also served on the Boys and Girls Club board of directors for over 8 years, and for 5 of those years I was the president. I recently left that position and decided to pursue post-secondary in looking at nonprofit management. I'm a teacher, and those are some of the ways I like to communicate with people. My second area of focus is business development. So I'm really passionate about local business. I participate in things like the Biz Box, which helps local businesses build their client base, and I'm just really interested in seeing how we can make those businesses successful. There are a lot of small businesses operating out of homes in Fort McMurray, and I think that puts a strain on our infrastructure that isn't necessary. If we do proper land release and partner with organizations like Community Futures, we can have a lot more success with getting them in the right spaces for their business. The final area of my focus is family needs. I'm a very passionate early childhood advocate. I took my early learning in childcare at Kiama College, and I am an elementary early entry teacher as well. So I'm passionate about that. I want to see licensed daycares. We need more. The waiting time at the Eagle's Nest is about 70 families, which is cut in half, but that's still a huge amount of need in our community. Looking at youth programming, I want to see stuff spread out throughout the community. And finally, I really think we need to look at seniors care, because we need to make sure people can take care of their family from birth to old age in Fort McMurray.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Mohammed Shafiq Dogar is by name. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for the management to give me a chance to speak to the public. I came to this community about 10 years back. My qualification is Masters in Social Sciences and a law graduate. But here, I'm doing transport business. I have 3 trucks and 2 taxi businesses. This community has given me a lot. I have raised my 3 kids here. All 3 graduated, 2 from Alberta University, and all of them married and staying here in the town. So this is our hometown. I have to pay back to this community and have to pay back with my services. The best forum which I have selected so far is that I ask my new Canadians, minorities, to be part of the mainstream without causing any inconvenience to them. We persuade them, we convince them, we try to meet on the national events so that there is a frequent interaction between the communities. I have been a 33 years married life, so I always appreciate and the stances where married life and family life can be promoted. Now my platform. First thing I believe is the financial accountability. Taxpayers, each and every penny has to be accounted for in a very strict manner. And anybody defaults, maybe the individual or the supervisory staff, they have to be taken account. Just saying that I was not informed and millions of dollars went from left to right, you people know what is the audit report I am referring to. And even in the 2013 elections, one of the favorite dialogues of the candidates were the financial accountability. And we have to be very firm in it. And whenever there is anything good, apex of the authority takes the credit. But whenever anything wrong, everybody says it is one vote. So in that, everybody shares the responsibility. This thing is not on. Financial responsibility, accountability has to be across the board. Maybe tough action has to be, tough decision has to be taken. And some people have to be very punished very severely. Then my second point is community integration. Community has to be involved at all stages many times before taking any decision. I feel that now the community integration involvement is not so much. I'm sorry to say that previously I wanted to meet some of the councillors, and one of the councillors said, "Why do you want to see me?" This question itself offends me.
Sorry,
Thank you very much. I would work with all the communities, particularly minorities, bring them to the mainstream. Thank you very much.
I'm Verna Murphy. I'm a writer and foster parent here in Fort McMurray. I've been married to my husband Tim for 20 years, and we have 3 children. We're 17, 15, and 6. Last year, KPMG came back with an audit that the taxpayers of Fort McMurray paid for, and it cost us $212,000. Under that audit, there was 46 recommendations where there was huge gaps in so many different policies and procedures. I really believed when that audit came out that those things needed to be fixed right away. So my first priority when I get on council is that I'd like to start adding those recommendations to the agenda. If you don't have a good structure to a building or even a body, it's going to remain broken. And I think that our municipal government, as long as we're not doing these recommendations, is going to remain broken. We're going to keep leaking money at the seams. We're going to keep lacking policy and procedure for things like land expropriation and how we're acquiring our land in Fort McMurray. I know that administration and council is already working on those recommendations, but I'd like them to be put on the agenda so that the public actually knows how they are fixing these things, how those decisions are going to affect them in the next number of years. Infrastructure, downtown development really are some of my focus. The infrastructure in Fort McMurray has to improve so that we can actually use the facilities that we have here. I'm talking about things like parking at Mac Island. Let's build a parkade and address some of those situations so that people actually have a better quality of life while living here in Fort McMurray. The severance packages and all those kinds of things, hiring and firing, are all going to be addressed when we're looking at these recommendations. So to me, those things are vital going into this council seat. And I'm hoping that on March 30th, you guys and the people of Fort McMurray will feel that I have some common sense going into council, and I'm going to bring those common sense decisions forward so that the quality of life for the residents here will improve in the next 2.5 years. Next week, I'm hoping that everybody will go vote, and that's another thing that I find the people are really disengaged with our municipal government. They feel that they're not being heard and they're not being listened to, and that's another thing that I'm pretty good at in the last number of years, being a foster parent and working with various social profit groups, and I'm on the board for the Community Advisory Board for the RCMP, also on the board for the Support Through Housing. I've really learned how to work.
Thank you very much. Sorry, the 3 minutes are up.
Thank you.
Last but not least, thank you, Colleen.
Thanks, and thank you for the forum. So I'm Colleen Tatum, and I was born and raised here in New Buffalo. I grew up in Dickinsfield, and I actually met my husband Adam at Dickinsfield School, so you can do the math on that one. We have 3 children, aged 4, 3, and 1 years old, and we've chosen to raise our kids here, and I'm running for all the people who have chosen to do the same. My campaign is about fighting for a Wood Buffalo that is livable, strong, and ours. And I just want to tell you what that means to me. A Wood Buffalo that's more livable means we need to attract the retail, restaurants, and amenities of a community our size can support. I want to push for incentives for developers to create more affordable retail. So we have a lot of land and businesses that aren't being used to their maximum capacity. A Wood Buffalo that is safe. We need to get all those heavy and hazardous loads off our main streets. I want to explore alternate routes for those vehicles, and it will mean safer streets for our residents. Secondly, a Wood Buffalo that's strong means that in a time of economic uncertainty, no one gets left behind. We're a community, I've said it before, we have the can-do pioneer attitude, but we are best when everyone is doing well. We need to make sure that we protect the services that families and seniors have relied on and add to those as well. And lastly, I'm fighting for a community that is ours, the year-round residents of Wood Buffalo. We are a community, we are not a work camp. We need to work with industry to address the issues created by fly in, fly out. One that keeps the cost of living affordable and and make sure that we get the government services like healthcare that we need. This will take several measures. There's no magic bullet for any of these problems. We need to build a community that is more attractive for people to live in, like I already mentioned, but we also need to work with the province to make sure that we have a workforce that is trained and qualified for those jobs. That way industry can hire closer to home. We also have to work with the province to properly account for the shadow population. As a municipality, we need to invest so that we have the infrastructure to support a larger population. I want to be a strong voice for families and business on council. I think that my personal and business experience would be a welcome addition to the council chamber, and I hope that you agree. You can also go to my website, which is ColleenTatum.ca, and please choose to vote for a Wood Buffalo that is livable, strong, and ours on March 30th.